Alright, so tonight's lesson is lesson 118, and we are doing more dividing with decimals. Yay! Okay, so the first one we have is 6/10 divided by 5. Now, we have to take this, it is written in a horizontal way, and we have to turn it into the way that we normally write division problems. And if you read it out loud to yourself while you're doing your homework or taking a test, it kind of tells you how to write it. 6/10 divided by 5. So I'm going to write 6/10 first, actually. Let's do it like this. 6/10, 0.6, divided by 5. So you're kind of writing it actually, backwards, but that's okay. So we did a lot of this today. We're going to do something a little bit differently today, but that's okay. Okay, 5 goes into 0. 0 times, I didn't even do it first and I should have. Remember, when there's a decimal in the house, raise the roof. So we put our decimal up on top of our house, raising the roof. Alright, so here we go. 5 goes into 0. 0 times 5. 0, subtract, I have 0. Bring down my next number is my 6. 5 goes into 6. Sorry, my pen's not very dark. 5 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. When we subtract, we have 1. Okay, now because I'm working with decimals here, I can go ahead and add on a magic 0 back here, okay? Because remember we talked about when you're dealing with decimals, you can add zeros on to the back of them without changing the value. Now if that was a 6 and I added a 0, it would become 60 and I totally changed the number. But with decimals, you're just saying that there is 0 in that hundredths column, but I need it to get my answer because when we're dealing with decimals here, we do not have remainders ever. If we can't bring a number down, we add a 0 to the end and we keep working that way. So I'm going to bring down my 0. Alright, 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 5, 10, minus, I'm going to write it small here, 0. So now my answer is 12 hundredths. Right there, I have my answer. Alright, we're going to do the second one now. Okay, it's written horizontally again. 3/10 divided by 4. So I'm going to write it. Okay. 3/10 divided by 4. Alright, and I'm sure we're going to kind of have the same thing going on in this one. So, here we go. Let's see. I'm going to say 4 goes into 0. 0 times 4 is 0. When I subtract, I have 0. Bring down my next number, and I have a 3. And I forgot again, when there's a decimal point in your answer, raise the roof. I'm going to put my decimal point up first. Okay, so I say now, can 4 fit into 3? How many times? 0 times. I still have to put my 0 in my answer. 0 times 4 is 0. When I subtract 3, take away 0 is still 3. Now, like I did before, I'm going to add a secret 0 to the back because remember, I can add as many as I want to the back of decimals. I'm going to bring down that 0. So now I ask myself, how many times can 4 go into 30? Okay, and what do you think? I'm going to put a 7 up here. 7 times 4? 7 times 4 is 28. When I subtract, I have a 2. Now, I can also, I don't want to have remainders, so I'm going to add another second 0. Okay, I'm going to bring down that 0. And now I have 20. How many times can 4 go into 20? And we know that, 5. 5 times 4, 20. When you subtract, you get 0. When you're dealing with decimals and decimals and division, you can't have a remainder. Your decimals are only going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's why we add on that 0 to the end each time. And say I had, when I did this and I had a 3 left over, I can't have a remainder. So I'd add up another 0 to the end of my problem, and I would keep adding zeros until I come out with an even number on top, no remainders. Alright, so I'm going to do the next one. 3 4/10 divided by 10. So this is something we talked about you actually don't even have to do the problem this way, but we're going to. Remember when we talked about when we have numbers with decimals and we multiply by 10? Well, now we're doing it when we are dividing by 10. So when we do that, you have to move the decimal point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and write my problem here. And it is 3 4/10 divided by 10. Okay, raise my roof, put my decimal point up here. So what I could do is I say 10. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Divided by 10. All right. Can 10 fit into 3? No. So I'm going to put my 0. 0 times 10, 0. Subtract. Bring down 3. All right, bring down my next number, my 4. Can 10 fit in to 34? Yes, 3 times. 3 times 10 is 30. When I subtract, I have 4 left over. Now I have to bring down another 0. I'm going to add a 0 onto here because I can't have a remainder. Bring down my 0. Can 10 fit into 40? Yes, 4 times. 4 times 10, 40. Subtract, you get 0. So my answer would be 34 hundredths. Do you see in your answer something that you remember when we did with multiplication of tens? We just moved our decimal point. So if I have 1 0 here, I'm going to move my decimal point once. And my answer becomes, sorry, my pen, 34 with a 0, which is the same answer I did if I did long division. I get the exact same answer. So I'm showing you how to do it the long way, but if we do the next one, mentally divide 3 5/10 by 100, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to do this in our head. How many zeros do I have? 2. I'm going to move my decimal point of 3.5 once, twice. Now, I have my placeholder. What do I put in my placeholder? A 0. And my answer, 35 thousandths. So, think about it this way. If you're doing division and multiplication with decimals and your hundreds and with your zeros, and you're thinking, oh, I don't know which way to move my decimal point, think about it. If I'm moving my decimal point this way to the left, my number is getting smaller. If I moved my decimal point to the right twice, I would have 3,500. I'm getting bigger. When you divide something, you're getting smaller. So if you get stuck on your test, remember to think about that. All right, and here's your lesson practice.